Hey everyone, this is Kirk here again at Option Alpha, and so excited because this video is where the rubber really meets the road, as they say, and we're going to start walking through automating your trades. Now, I'm going to show you how you can do it here inside of Option Alpha and why you would want to start automating your trades. I think that this will be a really insightful video, and I hope it really just blows your mind with the opportunity that you have to create bots that do anything that you want. Now, to start off this discussion, we have to talk about what automating trades means and how you do it inside of a bot. Now, in a previous video in this section, we talked about a bot being just essentially a shell, a robot, a computer that is going to house your strategy. It has some very basic settings like the capital and the position limits that we went through before. That's kind of like the outside rules of the actual strategy. But the interior of that strategy, the real directions of what to do and how to do it, are done through automations. And so inside of Option Alpha, your bots can have multiple or one or dozens of automations that they run. And automations are just simply a set of instructions that you tell the bot to go through. And so in this video, we'll be building an automation together, setting up the bot to automatically start trading for us. All right, so really quickly, let's just kind of set the stage here. Inside of Option Alpha, I've already created my bot. Now this is just a bot that is essentially the shell of the trading strategy that I'm going to generate. So here inside the bot dashboard for Kirk's Autotrading bot, for lack of a better name for it, I have my dashboard, which doesn't have any activity because nothing's happened yet. I have no positions and I have no activity log. There's no automations or instructions that I've given the bot to go through. So inside of the settings, I have some very basic settings over here on my safeguards, which we went through in a previous video. My allocation is $1,000 for this bot. I'm allowing it to get into one position per day and one at a time. So that's the setup of the bot. This is the shell of the bot. Now, what I need to do with this bot now is I need to give it some instructions, some things to do. And this is, again, where you really start going into the realm of auto trading. So automated trading is nothing more than just telling a computer, a bot, a robot, what to do and when. And you do that through automations inside of Option Alpha. You can add different types of automations, schedule them all types of different ways. And inside those automations, you can tell the bot to do different things or make different decisions. And so I want to go through that today with you all so you can see a really concrete example of this. Now, to help show us what we need to do here, I'm going to switch over to a chart here on TradeStation. And this is just a chart of GLD. So it's a daily chart of GLD. Everyone who's a trader is probably familiar with some sort of charting service, technology, software service thing, whatever that is. And what you used to do as a trader is you used to have to come in, look at the chart, analyze things, set up all of your indicators. And once you had that in place, you were the one who had to come in and figure out if it was time to buy, time to sell, time to get into a position, time to get out. If liquidity was good enough, you had to analyze all that stuff. And this is what your day was. Your day was just tied to your computer or phone, just looking at all of these different things, trying to analyze, okay, do we have a buy signal, sell signal? Is my setup in there? What we're trying to do here is give you the tools to offload that busy work to a bot. All you have to do is tell the bot what to look for, what to do, what to analyze, and how to get into and exit positions. It's basically your trading plan into an actual bot. So to help us understand that just a little bit more, let's look at this TradeStation chart here. This is GLD right now, and it's just at the time that we're actually doing this. But all I've done here just to help set the stage for how we're going to create our bot is I've given GLD a 200-day moving average. This is that blue line that you see here. So the 200-day moving average is a trend indicator. It's a trend average. A lot of people like to use the stock or the security trading above or below it as an indicator. So just so you know that blue line here on the screen, that is the 200-day moving indicator or 200-day moving average for GLD. Now down at the bottom here, I've also included an RSI technical indicator. Now RSI just stands for Relative Strength Index. It's a very popular technical indicator that tries to gauge the relative strength of the market. And if the market is too overbought or too oversold, you'll get these spikes in these different readings in RSI. By the way, we also did a lot of research and published that research for free with RSI tables and databases and performance of different indicators and settings. It's all available for you right inside your library at Option Alpha. So inside of this RSI chart here, you can see that I've got RSI set up here to look at a length, meaning the number of days that it's evaluating, of 14. And then I have the readings here of oversold and overbought at 30 and 70. Now what that basically means is that these are the green lines here. And so it's essentially looking at the market and saying, okay, if RSI is really high, so basically it's turns red visually here, so basically a reading over 70, that might suggest that the market is also getting a little bit overbought. Maybe not that it is going to turn around exactly, but that it maybe has a good chance of not continuing at the same pace or moving sideways or possibly reversing down. So you can see that pretty much for GLD, it was pretty spot on that most of the time that RSI was at these really, really high levels, it either stopped moving up, right? So it stopped increasing in price, or it moved sideways, or it started to turn over. Even recently, just about a month and a half ago or 2 months ago now, you can see we had some high RSI readings on GLD. Now, what do you do with these as a trader? So as a trader, you'd be forced to sit in your computer or at your home or on your phone looking for these signals or try to figure out a way to analyze these signals. But there's a lot of time between some of these really good trading signals that you might find. And I'm not saying that RSI is the end all be all, by the way. You can use this as a proxy for anything that you do trading, whatever indicators or signals you use. You can mix and match and combine and set them up in different combinations right on Option Alpha. But there's a lot of time between these different signals. Say nothing of the fact that you could trade in multiple markets and different things. So you'd be forced to come in here all the time and look at these back to back to back. Now we also see down here that RSI had some additional buy signals, right? Or potentially oversold signals here. And so that was when RSI was really, really low. So low areas down below 30 here. Maybe these areas were good areas to start building bullish positions, or maybe the stock wasn't going to drop as much or could reverse or turn around. So again, it seemed like a pretty decent indicator for GLD. Something you could definitely backtest and look at as well. We did a lot of research for you so you can see these, but RSI is a good one to use as a proxy for overbought and oversold. So now that we have that in place, what can we do with this? Well, we could probably build some sort of trading strategy around trading RSI. In particular, let's even just start with building a trading strategy that tries to find times when GLD is down in this area, when its RSI reading is below 30. If we can find times using a bot that RSI is below 30, then we could tell the bot to then enter a new bullish position at that point. So we would tell the bot and set up the bot to continuously look at GLD, look at the GLD price action and technical indicator, and see if you can find times when RSI is below 30. And if we can find times where RSI is below 30, even though it's not below 30 now, we can set up a bot that will continuously scan for that potential trading opportunity. And when those trading opportunities are present, then try to take some action, do something like enter a new position. So we'll go back and forth here on this chart as we go, but that's kind of the basic setup that we're looking for this particular example. Now, is this the only thing you can do with bots? Of course not. You can do a million different things, as you'll see as we start building out our automations, but that's one concrete one that we can use as our example as we continue moving forward. So inside of our bot here on Option Alpha, we're going to add our first automation. Now again, an automation is just nothing more than a set of instructions that you give the bot to go through. So we'll go over here to the button for New, and we'll go ahead and click New Automation. Now we can name this automation anything that we want. I particularly like to keep my automations very nice and clean with naming. So I will say a oversold RSI scanner, right? That's what I'll call it, something like that. Like, what is the automation doing? Whatever the automation is doing, I try to name it that so that later on, if I reuse the automation or use it someplace else inside of another bot, I know what the automation is doing without looking inside. So I can say something like oversold RSI scanner, right? And oversold basically means buy signal, right? That's what we're looking for, is an oversold signal on RSI. Now, once you have the automation, you can also save it to your library if you choose. This allows you to reuse the automation and keep a copy of it. You can save it in something like Kirk scanners, or you can create a new folder. Wherever you want to put it, you can put it in your library. That way you never lose a copy of it. You can reuse it in other bots moving forward. Now, what do I do here with this automation? Well, I need to start telling the bot what to do when the automation runs. So again, an automation is just nothing more than a set of instructions that you give the bot to go through. So I'm going to click on the plus icon to add a step. And inside of this step, I have a number of different choices to go through. We'll go through a lot of these here together, and then in other videos, we'll deep dive on some of these topics more than others. First thing that I can tell the bot to do is I can tell the bot to make a decision. Decisions are wicked powerful. We'll use this in this video here. But decisions allow you to tell the bot to analyze data or evaluate something and then make a yes/no decision. Like, yes, it's true, or no, it's not true. And you can combine multiple groups and sets of decisions into really infinite possible combinations. So we could use decisions. We could tell the bot to open a position. We could tell the bot to close a position. We could tell the bot to send us a notification. If there's something that we wanted the bot to tell us was going on, some situation happened, some market criteria that we just wanted to be alerted to, we could send ourselves a notification, and we could use tags, and we could use position loops. Now, we'll get to position loops and tags a little bit later and in other videos, but for now, let's go ahead and just have the bot first make a decision. Now, we'll use GLD as our base case here and assume that we're set up the bot just to look at that one particular ticker. So we'll go here to add a decision, and then we'll click the plus icon to add a decision to follow down the yes path. Now, once I add that plus icon, you can see that I'm presented with a really nice long list of what we call decision recipes. These are all natural language recipes, so you don't have to code anything. You just simply use the words that you would normally use to describe what you want the bot to do. And that's how we kind of think bots should work here at Option Alpha, and we think a lot of people like this as well. Is we don't need to code anything. We just need to use natural language, just how we would say it, like the symbol's price is above $100, then do something else. Or the symbol's volume is greater than 100 shares, then do something else. So you can see that within this category here, or within this list, there's lots of different things that you can look at. You can look at indicators, like all types of different indicator recipes, position recipes, opportunity recipes, bot recipes. You can check the bot itself, general recipes like today is Monday or Tuesday, or the market time is after 2 o'clock or before 3 o'clock, whatever it is. So there's lots of combinations that you can kind of come up with as you go forward. In this case, all we want to do as the very, very simple thing here for GLD is we want to check what? RSI. We just want to see if RSI is a buy signal, if it's oversold and we have a buy signal on RSI. So we're going to scroll down to the section for indicators. These are all the different indicator recipes here. If you hover over any of the actual underlying values, you can see the different indicators that you can choose from and the different variables for each field. Notice that in some cases you have a very specific indicator recipe. If you wanted to get even more specific on a particular day or setup or setting of an indicator, you can do that here. And there's multiple different indicators that support that type of setting. So here we'll just use the very top one, which is a second one down, which is a really simple one. And we're going to fill out this recipe. Now again, this is just a recipe like a cooking recipe. Here are your inputs. These are things you need to fill out and control. You need to tell the bot what symbol, right? The bot does not read your mind. The bot doesn't know that you want to look at GLD. So you have to tell the bot, hey, I want you to look at this particular symbol. So let's go ahead and put in that symbol. So we'll just connect it to GLD and then hit next. Okay, great. Now the bot knows, great, I need to look at the intraday data for GLD, which just basically means the most recent, most readily available data for GLD. I want to look at RSI 14, right? That's the RSI, the one that we were looking at, the 14-day on RSI. And I want to see if RSI is below, and the number that we want to use here is 30. Now, if I go back to my tab here for TradeStation, you can see that is the exact setup that I was using on my chart as well. I was looking at a RSI length of 14 days and an oversold reading of 30. That's how I know that whenever RSI gets that low, that's what I want the bot to evaluate and to find for me. Whenever that happens, I want the bot to be able to find that for me. So once I hit 30 or type in 30, I can just hit save. Now what I have here is I have my decision. Notice that if I wanted to, I could add more decisions and go down a yes/no path and group decisions if I wanted to, or and/or decisions. But for right now, I just want to keep it really simple. Only follow the yes path if GLD's intraday RSI reading is below 30. And here I can just hit save. Now, as soon as I hit save, it's going to add that decision to my automation editor. So when the automation starts running and it goes down this path, right? When the automation starts running and it goes down this path, it's going to encounter first a decision. You're telling the bot, before you do anything else, check this data. Check and see if GLD's RSI reading is below 30. Do I have a buy signal in RSI, right? Remember, go back here to this. I want to see if GLD's RSI is below 30. So all of these green values down here when RSI got really, really oversold, that's what I want to check. Now, if RSI reading is below 30, I want to do something down the yes path, right? Maybe I want to enter a new position, or I want to evaluate a potential position. So what I can do here is I can add another decision down the yes path. Whatever the answer to that question is, I can tell the bot to do nothing and just end, or to do other things. So only if GLD's RSI reading is overbought do I want to do something else. Well, maybe I want to open a new position. So I click the button here to open a position. I tell the bot what type of position I want to get into. In this case, we'll open a short put spread. That's a bullish, out of the money position where we're selling options, right? And trying to take in a high probability of success. I have to tell it what symbol I want it to trade on. So I would go here and say, okay, I want you to trade on GLD, right? The bot doesn't know what position. You could be looking at gold, but wanting to trade TLT. I don't know, right? So you got to tell it what it is. Then you choose the rest of your fields. So I'll go over this in more detail in another video, just like all the different specific recipes you can use, but you can really set this up to trade any type of expiration or series that you want with a lot of granularity. Again, all using different decision recipes. So we're going to say maybe let's do a short put spread, 30 days out, at least only the monthly contracts. Sell the 30 delta short put, the 10 delta long put. Just do one contract, right? So don't do a big position size. And send the orders using 100% of the bid-ask spread. Now, what's super cool about this order setup right here is that from this one open position action, you can basically set up the entire way that you want to manage the position, both in and out, entry and exit. It's all right here inside of your open position action. So the first thing that we obviously did here is we just set up the parameters of the actual position. This is kind of like the parameters. We want to do a contract, these strikes, this expiration for GLD. That sets the basis for this trading strategy. And remember, what we're trying to do here is that if we get an oversold reading like this and we have RSI really low, we're trying to sell options far out of the money. So like further out from where the stock is trading. What this does is this gives us a little bit of a cushion here, some difference so that the stock can move against us, but not go further into or have a low probability of going really far against us. So we want to trade high probability. Basically, when there's oversold markets and we get that buy reading, we're going to sell options even further away from where the stock is trading at the time. So now what are we doing here to tell the bot to enter positions? We've told the bot, yes, we want you to do this, but how do we want this priced and how do we want these orders going over to our broker? Well, you're going to set that all up here in the pricing dropdown in something we call SmartPricing. Now, I'll deep dive into this in another video, but for right now, what SmartPricing is that it sends limit orders traversing the bid-ask spread for you, trying to find different prices. So if you're encountering a spread or security that has a really wide spread, bid-ask spread there, what it's going to do is it can be set up to try different types of prices. You can obviously turn off and not use smart pricing and say, look, send one order at this price all the time, or send one order at 50% of the bid-ask spread all the time. But instead, what you can do is you can use technology to try, in this case, a smart pricing setting of up to 5 prices 20 seconds apart. So what this is going to do is it's going to send your first order to the market, and then it's going to wait 20 seconds to see if that order gets filled. And if that order doesn't get filled, it'll try the next available price that you set in your parameters here, and it will wait 20 seconds, and then it will try another price, and then it will wait 20 seconds. And so basically it's working from best pricing to worst pricing for you automatically every single time. So we can tell smart pricing, hey, smart pricing, go ahead and try up to 5 prices. If the spread is really wide, if there's a need to try 5 prices, try 5 different prices, working from the best price to the worst price, and set the worst price at 80% of the bid-ask spread. So that means it won't go further than 80% of the bid-ask spread. So if the spread's really wide, it still won't go further. You can set this to whatever value or variable you think is comfortable. A lot of people set it 75, 50, 60, 80%, something like that. So if I say, okay, set it at 80% of the bid-ask spread, that's how I want the orders to go over to the market. So now my open position is now set up right here. I have done everything I need to do to tell the bot that should I encounter this environment, should it find this particular environment, this is the position that I want to get into. All right, so now that you've done that, what you can also do inside of this one simple action is you can also set your exit options. Now, exit options are super powerful because they attach and basically piggyback. You can kind of think of them as like attaching directly to the position. They're the exit options for what? For the position that it just opened. You can preset your exit options so that you tell the bot under what criteria you would want to get out of this trade. Now, there's a limited number of exit options that you can set because they run really, really fast. So inside of your exit options, which check every single minute that the market is open, you can tell the bot what your core fundamental choices are for exiting. This doesn't mean that this is the end of all the different ways you could exit the position, but it does mean that it gives you the fastest, most powerful way to manage the position at those core levels that you would want. So for example, here you could say, all right, I want to take profits at 50% of the credit that I received. And so as soon as the position is open, these exit options kick in and start running every 1 minute that the market is open. So that if your position ever reaches a 50% of profit, if it was 50% of the premium that it took in, your 50% profit level, if it ever reaches that level, it will then try to start sending trades to your broker to fill that position. This could happen the next day, could happen 3 hours later, could happen 4 days later, 20 days later, right? Depending on your trades that you're doing. But whenever that condition is present, it will start sending orders and trying to fill and exit the position. Now remember, with your actual exit options, for profit taking, we automatically ensure that your final price is your profit target. So you can set different pricing here. You can say, look, try 5 prices, but your final price will ensure you get a profit or better on these positions. Now you can also at the same time set stop losses. So if you use stop loss orders, I don't use stop loss orders, but if you use stop loss orders, you can say, all right, if I get to 200% of my credit, so 200% stop loss, go ahead and start sending orders to my broker. And again, you can specify how you want these orders to go over under this exact condition. So you can say, all right, I want orders to go over fast and up to 105% of the bid-ask spread. So now what I've done is that for this exact market condition that this position would be in, I am allowing the bot to send orders at further than the bid-ask spread because maybe I'm scared and I want to get out of the position, whatever the case is. The other added benefit of controlling it here on Option Alpha is you don't have those orders sitting out there waiting to be hunted by other participants. You don't have a stop loss order that's just GTC hanging out there in the market. Instead, let the bots control and manage pricing and then only send over orders when it's absolutely necessary. So in this case, you could have your stop loss here. You could also set your exit before expiration. Exit the trade 1 day before expiration. Now I'm entering a position 30 days or 40 days out or however many days out it is, but I could then tell the bot, hey, once you get close to expiration, like 1 day before or 2 days before, go ahead and get out of the position, because at that point, it's either not at a profit or I haven't reached my stop loss. So, okay, go ahead and exit the position. If you're trading something that has earnings, you could also set earnings and say exit the position a day before earnings or 10 days before earnings if you want to. And then finally, if you are a smaller account trader and you're subject to the pattern day trading rules that are requirements for all brokers and for everybody, so if you have under $25,000, you're going to want to check this box here, which will wait at least 1 day before it tries to close the position. This will ensure that you don't have a day trade. Even though you might have a profit, you can't actually keep day trading. You get that pattern day trading limit. So what you'll do is you'll just check this box and say, wait at least 1 day to avoid being a pattern day trader. Now that I've got all my exit options set up, I simply hit save here. And the coolest possible thing is now in place, which is that the entire strategy is now set up here. Both the entry and my exit, the core levels that I want to exit this position at, are set right here. And once I'm good to go, I simply hit save. So this is it. This is your entire, if you want it to be, it's the most simple automated strategy that you could run for GLD. And again, all we're doing is using 2 different actions. The first action that we're using, if we encounter it when the automation, or when we encounter it and the automation starts running, is GLD's RSI below 30? If it is, and the answer to that question is yes, the bot will continue down the yes path and start working through the process of opening that position. If the answer to that question is no, then the automation simply ends. You don't have to take any action on this end here. The automation simply ends and the bot will check again at the next interval. And that's okay. Going back to our trading chart here, you can see, right, with GLD, if the automation does not find that GLD's RSI is below here, do you want it just to check one time? No, of course, you want it to continuously check. And so all of these in here, basically all of this time here for GLD, these would all be no's, and that's okay. It's keeping you out of a trade that you don't want to be in anyway. You're sticking to your rules, you're being non-emotional about it, you're being systematic about it. But the second that it starts dipping down below a level that we would deem in our bot strategy to be a buy signal, it's going to find that buy signal, it's going to make that trade, okay? So right here inside of your bot itself, inside of your automation, you can also test your logic. This is really cool too. As you're going through here, go ahead and just run a quick test. The test doesn't do anything. It prevents the bot from modifying itself, meaning it's not going to actually open a position. So just run the test inside of this bot that you have here, start the test, and you can evaluate real market criteria and data right now. So right now, as I'm recording this, which is March 15th at 2:09, you can see GLD's RSI reading. Is it below 30? No. The reading right now is 65.90 for GLD. So the reading is high, right? So I don't need to evaluate. It doesn't need to do anything. It just simply went down the no path and then ended. That's okay. That's what we wanted to do. We just wanted to keep looking for those opportunities for us so that when those opportunities are presented, we have the ability to open a new position. Now, if I'm ready to go with this particular automation, and we'll just use this as an example here, I can simply hit save. This will add the automation here back to the screen where I was adding it. I'm telling the bot what automation to run. That's basically like step 1 here is of adding the automation is tell the bot what you want it to do. And step 2 is on what schedule do you want this automation to run. So up here, we've told it the instructions that we want it to go through. But now what we need to do is we need to schedule the automation. Now you can see here in the schedule, there's a lot of different ways that we can schedule our automations. We can schedule them as continuous automations that run every 15 minutes, back to back to back to back throughout the trading day. We can schedule the automations using triggers. So if you wanted to run your automation at a specific date and time, you could. Just one time at a specific date and time. You could trigger them on a repeating schedule. Like maybe you wanted to run this automation every day at 10 o'clock or every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 o'clock. You could do that here, and I'll show you that here in a second. You could schedule this automation to run right after the market open. So every day, one time after the market open, it would run, or every day before the close. Or you could use more advanced stuff like position opens and buttons, which we'll get into in other videos. For this particular bot, and for most of the bots that you'll create, you would first use a scanner automation. Now, a scanner automation is very specific because it says what it's actually doing. It's an automation that is generally set up to try to find new positions. And it will only run if the bot is under its position limits that we talked about in the safeguards and limits video. That means if we already have a full portfolio, even though your automations are on, your scanner is going to be in sleep mode because you've already got a full portfolio. So you don't need the scanner to keep running. So here we're going to set this up to run as a scanner. And once we do that, we simply hit save. Now our bot has an automation set up. You can see that I have an automation. It's the overbought by signal RSI scanner. You can see with a little icon here, it's saved to my library. And if I ever want to make changes to it, I just simply click the automation and I get pulled right back into the automation editor. I make any changes that I want to, and then I go ahead and hit save. If I want to change the settings of it, I can go over here and I can switch this and I could run this at a specific date and time instead. So if I only wanted to run it one time, I could run it on a date schedule. If I wanted to run it on a repeating schedule, I could set up the pattern. I could say run it every week on specific days like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and run it at 11:30. And that's it, right? So you can set up multiple ways of running your automations based on what you want to do with them. So I'll exit out there because I don't want to do that right now. Now, once I'm good to go, all I simply want to do is just turn on the automations. That's it. I simply want to turn on the automations. This is going to tell the bot, hey bot, you are now 100% ready to go to start running these automations on whatever schedule they are set up with. Every 15 minutes, every day, every repeating schedule, market open, whatever. You can add multiple different types of automations to your bot. Now, this particular bot that we have here and this automation has the entire trading strategy wrapped up in these decisions because I already have my entry and I have my exit options set up for this particular bot. So I don't really need to do anything else. Now, when this automation runs and all of the decision criteria that it has will start to flow into your automation log. This is where you will see all the activity that's happening in your bot. You'll also see the activity every day here inside of your activity dashboard once we get to the point of starting to run those automations. Now at this time when I'm recording this video, those automations should run in about a minute or so on their 15-minute schedule for scanners. So we should see some automation activity here really soon inside of this particular bot. Okay, so it's a little bit after 2:15 now. I just kind of paused the video for a second there. And now you can see inside the log that we have some activity for our bot. So now that we've turned on automations, we're telling the bot to look for a position. Again, if you go to our settings, we've given the bot $1,000. We said it could open new positions, one position at a time. It has 0 positions right now, so there's no position. So there's nothing stopping the bot from scanning. And so if you go into the log, you're probably wondering, like, is my bot working? Is it running? Is it doing what it needs to? You can look at that all here inside of the log. So inside the log here, you can see today at 2:15, the scanner ran. It checked GLD. GLD was not in an oversold buy signal, so it didn't do anything, right? It just simply ended. That's okay. That's exactly what we want. We want the bot to keep moving, to keep going through its scans and its decisions, and just do it continuously until it finds a trading opportunity. Okay, now that we've set up one particular trading strategy, which is just a really simple trading strategy, 2 actions inside the automation, hopefully you can see that you can do this. You can set up automated trading. Now let's set up this bot to trade more symbols and to do some more creative stuff. So if you're ready to keep going here in this video, buckle up because we're going to get into some more advanced stuff, slightly more advanced stuff for this particular bot, but it just shows you the power of what you can do with automated trading. So what I want to do here is I don't just want to trade now GLD. I also maybe want to trade EEM. And I also want to scan, I don't know, like FXI or SPY. I want to trade multiple symbols. I don't just want to trade GLD. I don't want to wait a month and a half for opportunities in GLD. I might want to trade different types of opportunities, different overbought and oversold signals. So here's what I could do inside of my bot. I could set up my bot to now trade multiple symbols and to make even more advanced decisions. Now, is this going to be the end of all the decision making we could do? Of course not. But now I'm going to set my bot up to do some more stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do here as I'm working on it is just simply turn off the automations for now. I want to turn off the automations so that any edits I make in the process don't overlap with any of the automation schedule. I'm going to edit the allocation here, give my bot a little bit more capital, tell it that it can enter 5 positions per day and up to 5 positions at one time, and I want to keep those exit options enabled as well. Now inside of my automation, I want to make some changes here. I don't just want to trade GLD, so am I going to have to come in here and swap out the ticker symbol every single time? Well, that would be counterproductive, right? So instead, what I want to do is I want to add a position or a symbol loop. I want to tell the bot to loop through a number of possible symbols that it could trade. So here inside of the bot, and you could just start a bot like this if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and precede this decision with a symbol loop. Now a symbol loop is one of the actions that you can run down here. We'll dig into symbol loops more in another video, but it's basically telling the bot to make the same types of decisions and potentially take the same types of actions for multiple symbols that you list. So here I'm going to create a symbol loop and I'm going to input all the symbols that I potentially want the bot to trade, or I want the bot to at least evaluate trading. Let's just input 5 now: GLD, SPY, FXI, EEM, and TLT. And once I'm done, I hit done. Once I save this symbol loop, now what it does is it adds that symbol loop. Notice it preceded that symbol loop right up at the top. So when the automation starts running and this scanner starts going, it will start the automation and it will take these symbols right in their order and make all of the evaluations that are below the symbol loop for each of those symbols. So we also need to set this up so that it can reference whatever symbol is in there as well. Notice that right here inside of my automation and my decision, I'm specifically telling the bot to look at GLD. Even though I have a symbol loop in place, I haven't connected the actual input for the ticker symbol back to the symbol loop. So I'm going to do that here by going into the actual decision recipe, editing it, and then this little blue icon here is where we will connect the symbol input to whatever symbol the bot is currently looping through. So notice we're connecting to some value that we've put in elsewhere so that we don't have to keep inputting it over and over again. Now everything else is the same for that particular setup, so I just save it all here. And now what's going to happen is that when the automation runs, it'll look at GLD and it'll input GLD in that symbol field and evaluate the RSI reading for GLD. Then once it gets to an end, it'll come back around and it'll loop back through SPY and it'll swap SPY for that symbol field and then evaluate SPY. And then it'll do it for FXI and then it'll come back around and it'll do it for EEM, etc. It'll just keep looping through these symbols until it runs through all the symbols in that loop. Now there's one other area that we still have to connect as well, and that's the open position action. Because now here in this open position action, we're not just trading GLD anymore. That was where you could do that if you only wanted to trade one ticker, never any other tickers. But now that we're expanding this and we're doing more auto trading, now we could actually add more symbols. So instead of selecting the symbol or changing it, again, we're going to go right here to the side. We're going to connect this to the symbol loop. That means that whatever symbol is currently being run through right now, we're going to open a position in that symbol. So we just simply connect that to the symbol loop field here. And again, what that's going to do is that's going to connect to whatever symbol is currently being looped through at the time. Once we're good to go here, we just save all the same criteria. This will again ensure that we're trading the same types of strategy, the same setup, with the same exit options across multiple symbols that we might get into. And then we just simply want to go ahead and hit save. So now our automation is a little bit more set up to trade multiple symbols. But let's think through exactly what we're telling the bot to do at this point. So we'll go out of here just for a second, just so we can get a bearing on what we're doing here. We'll save this automation edits and go back to our safeguards. We've told the bot that we're allowing the bot to open up an allocation of up to $3,000. It doesn't mean we're going to do it, right? Because we set up our positions as one contract per spread. And we told it that it could do 5 positions in one day. So just remember that for a second, because we're going to jump back into this automation editor. Let's hypothetically go through what would happen if, let's say, GLD had a buy signal and nothing else had a buy signal throughout the day. So the first automation runs in the morning when the market opens, and GLD has that magical RSI buy signal. So it goes through here, it gets a yes response, and it opens a GLD position. Now we have a position in GLD. That's great. We have one position in GLD. Well, what happens the next time that the automation runs? The next time, another 15 minutes later, this same automation is going to run. And it's going to encounter the exact same criteria where GLD has a buy signal and everything else doesn't have a buy signal. So currently, it would grab another position in GLD. It would go through that same process. Evaluate it 15 minutes later, it would probably still be a buy signal 15 minutes later if it's really oversold. And it would grab another position in GLD. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a second here, like I just wanted one position, maybe in GLD, right? One position in every ticker as I go. Well, you didn't tell the bot that you wanted that. You just told it to look at these symbols, and any symbol that has an oversold, whatever one that is, open a position, and it would keep doing that until it hit its position limit. Now, because we are giving the bot more room to run here and more ability to enter new positions, we can also add some additional decisions that control how many positions the bot gets into. So let's precede this decision with another decision. And now, instead of just quickly checking RSI, let's check something else first. So we're going to add a decision here in this step. Now here what we want to do is we want to go down here to some of the bot-related recipes. So down here in this section here for bot-related recipes, we want to use one of these recipes. And again, this is just showing you the power of mixing and matching and putting all these things together. We want to add a bot recipe that the bot does not have or has exactly 0 positions with that symbol. So that's this recipe here. Now you can use any combination of recipes that you want, but this is a really simple one that you can use, which is that the bot has exactly 0 positions with the symbol that it's currently looking at. This means that if the bot has a position in that symbol, it will stop looking at that symbol. This is a way that you can ensure that the bot never opens more than the number of positions in a particular symbol that you want. You could say something like the bot has exactly 3, or the bot has less than 3 positions, right? But when you start off, if you wanted to say, look, I only want to get into one position at a time, well, tell your scanner automation that you want to keep going only if the bot has exactly 0 positions with that symbol. Now, are we going to input the actual symbol here like TLT? No, because then it would always check TLT. Instead, we want to connect it to our position loop and look at the symbol that it's currently looking at, the symbol it's currently referencing right now. So I want to go ahead and hit save, and then I'm going to hit save again, and I'm going to add this down the yes path. So think about what the bot is doing at this point with its decision framework. When the automation starts running, it's going to loop through these symbols. It's going to start with GLD. It's going to first ask itself, it's kind of like it's asking itself what its own state is here. Does the bot have exactly 0 positions with this symbol? If it does have 0 positions, meaning it doesn't have any positions, okay, go ahead and continue down. So if the bot opens a position at 9:45 or 10 o'clock in the morning, then later that day, and I'll show you this here in an example in a second and just we'll kind of play around with it. Later that day, it will not continue any further for GLD. And instead, it will continue for the other ticker symbols that you have. So it'll go for SPY and FXI and EEM, any other symbols that don't already have a position. So that's a really cool example of how you can use, again, additional decisions to tell the bot exactly what you want it to do and what criteria you would get into a position. Now, let's add one more really fun set of criteria, which are called opportunity filters. This is a little bit more of an advanced setup, but if you understand how opportunity filters work, you will start to see the true power of using automations to leverage your time and attention with finding trading opportunities. So again, in this particular setup, all we're doing is we're looping through stuff, checking one indicator, and then opening a position. That's it. We're not doing any filtering for liquidity or probability of success or anything. You might do this as a trader normally. You might go through this in your mind, like, am I collecting enough money? Is this worth it? Is the liquidity there, right? But now you can actually do that with a bot. You don't just have to open a position. So if we go back to our chart here, it's not that we just want to close our eyes and open a position whenever the reading is where we want a technical reading or whatever the market setup is. We also can do other things now. We can do things that auto trading enables us and empowers us to do with bots. So here, before I get into opening a position, I'm going to proceed the open position action with a decision. And inside of this decision, I want to go down to a section called opportunity recipes. Now, these opportunities are opportunities because they are checking market data and stats on a potential position before the bot opens it. And this is a really powerful way to have the bot constantly evaluate a potential trading opportunity for you and only enter the position if it meets all your criteria. So here, inside of opportunity recipes, we could check a number of different things. Like the first one that I like to check is the chance of profit. Now this one's a little bit subjective to the bid-ask spread or to the deltas that you select or the legs that you select. So you'll want to be careful with this, but we selected a 30 delta option. So we're going to check and make sure that the chance of profit on this trade, because we selected a 30 delta short put, should be over 70%. And if the probability of profit is not over 70%, we don't want to take the trade. So we'll tell the bot what opportunity we want it to look at. Now, because we've already built out the actual position here, the bot puts that into a recent category so that you can see like, hey, is this the opportunity you're looking at? And we can say, yes, that was the one. The symbols, whatever symbol I'm looking at, the expiration's at least 30 days, only monthly contracts, and the 30-10 delta. Yes, that's the opportunity I want you to analyze. Great. The opportunity's chance of profit is more than 70%. That's what we want here. And once we do that and we hit save, now it will only follow the yes path, meaning this path to continue down to open a position, if the chance of profit on this trade is more than 70%. So think about that for a second. Think about how powerful that is as a trader, that you can dictate to a system to evaluate a complex order like an option position for multiple tickers before you start sending orders to your broker. Now, is that the only thing we can check? Of course not. We can check other opportunity recipes as well. So let's go down here to the opportunity section and let's check the rate of return. Let's check the rate of return for that same opportunity. Let's ensure that we're getting paid enough money based on the risk that we are taking to actually make this a profitable trade for us. So is the rate of return, is the capital and the premium of that position relative to the risk of that position, so the spread less the premium, right? The width of the strikes less the premium, is that rate of return, that possible rate of return, greater than 30%? Great. We want to do that as well. So you can add multiple sets of criteria. Notice you can switch these as and or decisions, and then you can get even further in here and you can create groups and subgroups and not conditions. It's really powerful what you can do inside of here. Once you're good to go though, you simply hit save and you add this down the yes path. Now look at what's happening here. Now we've extended this automation we're ensuring that the bot doesn't have a position with that symbol, so only ever one position with the symbol at a time. We're ensuring that RSI is below 30. That's good. That's like a market condition check. We want to make sure the market conditions are good to enter a trade. But then, most importantly, we want to ensure that the trade we are about to enter itself meets our criteria. Over 70% chance of profit and over 30% rate of return. And only if those two things are true do we want to continue down the yes path. Because if either of those things are not true and we're not high enough probability or we're not taking in enough money, then we don't want to continue down the yes path. We got all the way there. We might have had a good market reading, but the actual conditions of the options themselves were not good or not priced good. So we just want the bot to try again later. Maybe later in the day or the next day or after a little bit more of a sell-off, maybe the conditions will be present to get into a trade, but they're not present right now based on the way we set them up. So again, this is a little bit more of an advanced way that you can set up your automations, but completely and utterly inside of this particular automation, we have now controlled everything that we want to possibly control for getting into new positions. And so I simply want to do here is just simply hit save. So now inside of here, you can see that this automation, if we turn this automation on and it starts running at the next interval, you'll see that it's going to start going through the different symbols. In fact, we can actually test this here. We can just run a test here, not modify the bot or anything, right? Just run a test. Okay, here's the first symbol. Does the bot have exactly 0 positions with this symbol? The GLD is the symbol it's going through. Yes. Has 0 positions with GLD. Great. Is RSI below 30? No. What about SPY? Well, it doesn't have any positions, and RSI is not below 30. It's close. It's at 39 today. Today markets are selling off, so it's low. What about FXI? Is FXI below 30? Nope. Pretty close, right? Ooh, what about this one? EEM. So look at this, right? This is really where the rubber meets the road here. So now when it got to EEM, does it have exactly 0 positions? Yes. Is the RSI below 30? Yes. And you can actually see what the reading the bot used was. It's just below 30. It's just slowly starting to tick down. It's at 29 and change, right? All the way out a number of decimals. Does the position I want to get into, does it have and meet my criteria? Now, this is the most fascinating part. I hope you pause, send, share this with a bunch of your friends if you're watching this video. Because if you got to this point, you got it and you get it, and it should be the light bulb moment. The bot is now evaluating your potential trade. Did the chance of profit reach more than 70%? Yes. Statistically, this trade for the April 21 contracts, the 36, 33 put, which is what it evaluated to, the chance of profit is 80%. Awesome. That's great. But look at this. The rate of return is not quite there yet. You're not getting paid enough money for that trade. So logically, realistically, intelligently, you can let the bot just simply end and not get into the position. The market conditions were there, right? For EEM. If we go here to TradeStation, you can see that EEM is starting to tick down here. It's probably ticking up and down right around this 30 reading, depending on when you run this, right? But it's starting to get oversold. Maybe it needs to get a little bit more oversold. And maybe the criteria and the premium for those options needs to go up a little bit more to make the trade worth it. But guess what? You can wait for that now because you can just let the bot take care of it. You can let the bot continue to manage your position under your exact criteria that you want. So that's really good. You can see how it's working here. And then again, you go to TLT and you can see TLT is not quite there yet in oversold territory. So this is really good. This gives us some confidence to know that the bot's doing exactly what we want it to do, and will do that on every continuous scan that it runs through. And as soon as all the criteria are met, it will try to open new positions. Okay, last thing that we can do here is we can also add multiple automations. Remember, inside of our scanner automation, we are telling the bot to open new positions, and we are setting up our core exit options. These are the core exit options we want the bot to go through. But is that the only way we can monitor positions? Of course not. We can also set up a new automation to run that is specifically designed to check and see if RSI goes the other direction. Maybe we want to get out of a trade if RSI becomes now really, really overbought. So to go here, maybe if we enter a trade down here and RSI goes back above 50 and we don't yet have a profit target, we might have a small profit, so we might want to take that profit off the table. So we can set up additional conditions to get out of the position. So we'll call this one our RSI overbought monitor automation. We're going to tell the bot to monitor some existing positions for conditions that we would deem as being conditions to exit the position. So inside of here, we're going to actually start this one with not a symbol loop because we're not looking for new positions. We're going to start this with a position loop, which is right here. We're going to tell the bot, hey bot, loop through any of the positions that you have. Basically, pull in the data on every position that you have. And when you pull in this data, what I want you to do is I want you to check whatever symbol you're looking at, whatever the symbol is of the position. I want you to check and see if that symbol's data or the bot itself or whatever you want to do in your decision recipes has changed. So now I'm going to use the same recipe, the same decision recipe we used on the scanner, just in the opposite direction. I want to connect this to whatever symbol the bot is currently looping through for that position, whether it's GLD or SPY or TLT or EM, whatever it is. And I want to see if the intraday reading on RSI is above, not below, is above 50. So if the intraday reading, if I enter a position down here, see where my blue cursor is? And then later, RSI starts to go higher and goes above 50, which is right here, I want this bot to catch it, and I want the bot to close the position no matter what. Because now the trade has gone far enough, I might not be at my 50% profit target, but maybe I'm at 10 or 15 or something else. I could do some combination of that. So check each position symbol whenever a position gets opened. Repeat each of these positions and check its RSI reading to see if it's above 50. And if it is above 50, I want to close the position. You can just connect it to whatever position it's looping through. And again, you just tell it how to send orders over to SmartPricing. Maybe you send it fast and you allow the bot to go 90% through the bid-ask spread. Now remember, if the bot can't get a fill or the market doesn't get a fill, right, because it's market dependent, then it'll just try again and again and again on the next automation runs. So it'll just keep trying until it gets a fill as long as the criteria keeps getting met. So here I've set up a very simple RSI, now overbought, monitor automation. You can name it whatever you want. Maybe it's not monitor overbought, maybe it's cross over 50 or something like that, or cross above 50. You can make it very specific so you know exactly what it's doing. So as soon as RSI crosses above 50, it's going to close the position. Now, you have multiple ways in which you are now monitoring your position. You're monitoring your position using exit options that you set up when you got into the position. Those are still working, those are still running. But now you're also adding another way, another automation with more unique sets of criteria to manage your position, which is why we allow you to do both, which is why you could do or should do both inside of your bots. Just tell your bots all the different combinations of ways you wanted to exit positions. So now that we have told the bot what we want it to do when the automation runs, we simply need to schedule the automation. Now the way that we would schedule this one is we would schedule this one as a monitor automation. That's because it will only run if the bot has open positions. There's no need to monitor a position that doesn't exist, right? So we'll add it as a monitor automation and add it here. And you can see it gets added into a different section here for monitors versus scanners. This scanner automation is going to open the position and set up all the basic exit option criteria that start working. And whenever that position gets open, the monitor automation will start running as well and start monitoring the position for exits. So that's exactly how it's going to work as the bot starts running. So it's almost time for the next automation interval here. So what we'll do is we'll simply just pause this and come right back. All right, so it's been a minute or so let's go here to the log, and we can see that our new set of automations have run. Notice that we turned off automations while we were editing, so I turned them right back on before the 2:15 run, and you can see that the only automation that ran was the scanner automation. Now the question might be, well, why did the scanner automation run, Kirk? Because we have 2 automations that we told the bot to run, right? And the reason is because the monitor automations only run if there are open positions. We've set up this monitor automation again to only run if the bot has an open position. Because the bot doesn't have an open position, there's no need to run the monitor automation. You can just simply keep running your scanner automation until you open a new position. Now, earlier in the day, we had a bot had the automation have one simple decision. Remember that GLD 14-day is below 30? That's the one we had. But now we've changed the bot and we've included more decisions in a position loop. So you see that visually here inside the info of the automation that was run. And now you can see all the criteria that was actually run for all the different symbols. Notice even for EEM, earlier it was just below 30, now it's just above 30, so it's literally using the most up-to-date relative live information and data for the market moving forward, and nothing right now meets that criteria. That's okay. We want the bot to keep scanning and keep looking for opportunities for us. If you go to your bot dashboard here, you can see it's not made any trades, so there's no P&L or anything right now. But the activity here does show that there are 2 scanners that have been run today, and they've made a total of 11 decisions for you. Any position actions that you would have would also be included in here. Now, let's just go ahead and force open a new put spread position into this particular bot. We're just going to open a brand new position manually, not automated, just to grab a new position and see how the bot would behave for this new position being in place. So we'll go ahead and grab a bullish position. Actually, let's grab it in EEM because that was the closest one. We'll do the short put spread. We'll do the monthly contracts, which are about 37 days. We'll select our short put as about a 30 delta or so. And then we'll do the long put. We'll do that a couple strikes lower at 33. That has a nice, good, high probability of success. And we'll go ahead and place that trade. Now that automation is going to be working, and you can see that that automation is starting to run and open new positions. So here it is. It's working through SmartPricing. Notice when you dig into it, you can see the different prices that SmartPricing is trying to attempt as it starts to work towards the actual price. So if we just refresh here, you can see that it had tried and canceled this order, the 44, and now it's working at the 43. So it's just literally stair-stepping down pricing as it goes. We told it could go 100%, and then it actually worked and got filled at 42. So it didn't need to go all the way to the 40. So this is all the data for that position. So if I close out of that now and refresh the position, now you can see I've got all my position metrics, including my up-to-date and live P&L diagram of the position, which shows me my probability of success in real time as the market moves. And I have anything else that I need in here. I can choose to set exit options. In this case, I open the position manually. So if I wanted to set exit options, I could go in here and say 50% of credit and exit 1 day before expiration. And now my exit options are set for this position. So I've again just opened a position manually, pretty quick in here. Inside of my screen, if I refresh the position dashboard, now my bot actually has a position that's starting to work. Now, if I go over here to the settings, and let me go here to the log. In the log here, you can see I took a manual action. Even the manual actions to try and open positions or anything that you do, those are all still here in the log. The log details everything your bot does. It's basically your best friend of knowing what and how the bot is making decisions and what actions it's taking. All information dumps right here into the log. If I go here to my settings, I can actually choose to run automations right now if I want to. And we're going to do this together because I want to show you how the scanner has now adapted to the new position that we have in EEM. So here inside of my settings, I'm going to go ahead and run an automation right now. I'm going to run my oversold by RSI signal scanner, and I'm going to run it right now. It's going to run that automation, and here are the results. Now again, you notice I ran it at 251, so I ran it manually out of sequence if I wanted to. And here are all the results. GLD, SPY, FXI, but look at what happens to EEM. Now that I have a position in EEM, it's going to stop at that top decision that we added, which is does the bot have exactly 0 positions with this symbol, with EEM? And the answer to that question is no. It has 1 position with EEM. So notice the bot is going to stop going through EEM. There's nothing else that it needs to do. So if I go over to the log, you can see it only made 9 decisions this time and went through 1 loop because it stopped with the EEM. If I go here to the settings, let's manually run the monitor automation this time, okay? And it will run at the next interval because we do have a position, but let's just manually run that automation here. And it's going to loop through all positions that the bot has. But look at the log here. It only has 1 position, right? So there's only 1 position that the bot needs to evaluate. It needs to evaluate just the 1 position it has, which is the 36-33 put spread. And it's going to ask it, is the RSI reading above 50? No, the RSI reading is 30. Remember, we've seen this a multitude of times. So even if we had that position on right now, it's not going to exit the position purely for the technical indicator. It's only going to exit the position if that technical indicator goes above that level or if any of our exit options are hit. So here inside the actual position, it's monitoring the position high and the stop loss or the low of the position. So if any of these are hit, it will start exiting the position automatically. Remember, these exit options are tied directly to this particular position. So you can edit and change or modify those, and you can set those manually or automated inside of your scanner automation. We set these manually because we open the position manually inside of the bot. All right, so that's basically how you do automated trades right here inside of Option Alpha. Now look, I know this was a longer video and we went through a lot of information. In fact, we went through so much information, I bet your brain is hurting just a little bit with all the potential and all the ideas that you might have. This is just the beginning of what you can do inside of your bots. We certainly didn't even scratch the surface of the different opportunities and ways that you can set up your bots and automations and all the decisions you can use. I hope, if nothing else, you saw today using a really good example of how you used to trade as a manual trader, looking at charts, evaluating things by yourself in your brain, hopefully remembering to get to the computer to do it, and how you can transfer that knowledge, transfer your trading plan, and optimize it with automated trading technology. I hope this was really helpful for you. As always, if you have any questions, please let us know. We've got lots more videos to get to in this section, but I would love to hear your feedback right below.